Today I'm back out here working on the squeeze chute. If you're new to the channel or if you don't know what we're doing, I've got a scale that I'm going to install on the chute. I've got load bars that go underneath the front and the back, and then we'll have a scale readout here hanging up somewhere. But like so many things, before we can do what we're setting out to do, there's a lot of things that need to happen beforehand. My concrete approach and departure ramps have been curing for several days now. I'm going to pull the forms off today and see how everything looks. The job that's top of mind right now is getting the block off plates welded onto the back of the chute. You can see that one is broken off and the other one is still hanging on, but it's bent. So I'm going to upgrade these a little bit and weld some new ones on. I don't really have a goal for today. It's more of a stay on task and see how far you get kind of a day. Hopefully I can at least get this done though. Thanks for hanging. No, that would be the end of the video when you say that. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. One of the nice things about this chute is that the width is adjustable. There's 3 different settings, from almost 6 inches apart down at the bottom to fully open as you see it now. When you have the chute set on the most narrow setting, like what you would use for calves, when you have the body squeeze closed, it creates a gap here, and that's the purpose of these plates. With the chute narrowed up and the body squeeze closed, you can see what a big gap this creates here. I could actually fit through this if I wanted to. The danger here would be like if you had a calf in the chute and you had several more here in the alley waiting to go in the chute again, now they've got a place where they can escape. So you could have your whole alleyway emptied out just because they're getting through that gap. So that's why these are important and why I'm taking the time to actually rebuild these entirely, redesign them so that they're stronger and they shouldn't be able to break off again. So the plan is to go from a block off plate made entirely of flimsy sheet metal to one with like a tube perimeter, if you can imagine, you know, just cutting the legs off of this hoop here and then filling the gap in with sheet metal. They're not going to bend this 1-inch pipe, and I think that's the way to go. It came out just how I wanted. There's a slight slope here like the factory plates had. This piece was easy because I already had the hoop bent. This is from when I made the GPS mount on the tractor. This was a piece that didn't come out quite right, but the bends were good and it worked perfectly for this. I don't have another piece that's bent up like that, so we got to make one. Well, I have scoured the shop and I don't have a piece of 1-inch pipe that's long enough to make 2 bends like the piece that I just had, but I do have several shorter pieces. So what I'm gonna have to do here is make bends in 2 pieces, get all the measurements right, and then butt weld those together. Well, you can see the angle is closed a little bit, but only by just a hair. We're gonna be cutting all this off anyway, so this is gonna be fine. Now I just gotta make one more. All right, well, we're gonna do this quick and dirty. Basically. Back down here at the squeeze chute now, before I load up all my tools, my welder, my grinders, all that stuff, I just sort of wanted to mock these pieces up or test fit them and make sure that they're ready to go. See if we need to do any other modifications to make them fit. And once I know they're good to go, then I can bring the whole shebang down here. So let's see what they look like. Fits pretty good. It's interfering a little bit right here with one of the old welds, but we'll get those cleaned off. This side needs a little bit of modification. It's not sitting on there flat. If I kind of look down the length of the sheet metal here, I can see that it does sort of like bow out a little bit, if that makes sense. Or the squeeze chute itself might not be straight, but either way, it doesn't allow the pipe to really join up good on either side. So it's just a matter of trimming out the middle a little bit, and I might even just bring the grinder here to do that just because it's so minuscule. But other than that, these look pretty good. Well, there they are. They turned out pretty good. I'm happy with these. I think they almost, if I paint them, which I am actually planning to do, I'm sure, to the shock of many, but I think once they're painted, they're gonna look like they were, you know, factory installed on the chute, which is kind of what I wanted. I wanted it to blend in and look nice. And even better than looking nice is I think they're gonna function a lot better too. You could see when I was cutting that old one off, even that one didn't have any broken welds, but you could see how easy it was to bend. If anybody ever decided to push on that, they probably could have pushed right through it, and I don't think that's going to be the case with these. And while I had the welder down here, I went ahead and added this. If you're wondering what that was, it is a mounting point for the scale head. So the scale readout is going to be like right here somewhere, and that should be, I'll have a little bit of adjustment here because I put a longer pipe on there, but I can set it up right there where it's really easy to see. I thought long and hard about where to put the readout, because at first I was kind of thinking to weld the mount up here on the chute, but the trouble with that is I think if I was like reaching in here to work on a cow or a calf, I'd be bumping my head on it quite a bit, and then the cables from the load bars would be hanging right there as well. I mean, I probably could have routed them somewhere else, but I think the easier or better way to do it, the cleaner way to do it, is to run the cables on the ground. We'll tuck them in and attach them, anchor them somehow, and then we can just run them up this post on the alleyway straight to the scale head. So that should keep everything out of the way. And if I angle this a little bit, I'll be able to see it from here. I think it's going to work fine there. Once we get it on there, if I really don't like it, I can always move it. I mean, I didn't weld that on there very good. Only strong enough so that it doesn't break off when I bump into it, which I'm sure I will do quite a bit. So with that being completed, I think I have gotten all the things done that I wanted to get done before I install the load bars on the chute. These back block off plates really have nothing to do with the scale, but I wanted to get them on before I mounted the load bars, because once the load bars are mounted, you're not supposed to weld on the chute. So in the future, if I ever have to weld anything that I can't just remove off of the chute, which most things will come off fairly easily, but I'll have to jack it up and put it on blocks and unhook the load bars. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue, but just something to keep in mind. But I think in the next video, we can actually put the load bars on, and I'm really excited to get these set up. I've got my mounting place for the scale head. Really, this shouldn't take all that long. I want to get that all installed, set up, and then I want to bring the two bulls in here and weigh them both. It'll be interesting to see how much weight Rivet has lost or gained. I'm not really sure since being off of his feedlot diet. And then it'll be interesting to see how the black #1 bull compares to him. So I think they will be the first two to go across the scale, and shortly after them will be the harvest steers and the replacement heifers, and shortly after them will be everybody else. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.